Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Hi, everyone. Hope this finds you in good health and secure. I'm going to read the second, well, right now it's the second word in the volume 2 of Buddhism Reference. I went ahead and put up a picture of the future cover on the ebooks page on threefoldlotus.com. It's not available yet. It's still a long way to go. But as you know, or as I said in the last video, there will be a lot of useful terms to extend the library that's in the first volume, the Buddhism Reference. Much of what I'm going to include in this volume, not only useful terms, but deep dives into things. But I'm noticing that a lot of words are coming up in this BDK translation of the Lotus Sutra that I've been going over with you. And they're holdovers, they're traditional terms, and BDK seems to feel like whoever the translating body is, because, you know, there's always a translator or two or three or four, and then there's the editors and the blah, 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 blah. A lot of people get involved in making a book, especially like this, yeah. I'm all by myself, so good, bad, whatever that is. But traditionally, you know, this is a large organization's putting these translations out. They have a mandate they've given themselves. And there's always going to be bias. I mean, that's just human beings, right? Whatever you grow up around, as hard as you might try, unless you're really conscious of it, you're going to throw in, I mean, if you look at some of my 15-year-old videos, you're going to see me using rhetoric that I never use anymore. We learn, we grow, we develop. So one of those words is today's words, Bhagavat. It's all throughout the translations. Now, other translations, I never see that word. But I know that if you're going to study, not just on this resource, this channel, the podcast, the information on threefoldlotus.com, you're going to encounter these words, and you're going to wonder, what the hell is that? What's that mean? So, because it's my mandate that I've given myself to clarify the teachings, just like Nichiren did, right? I want to make clear the words that belong and don't belong, and why they might be there, and if they're useful, if they're not useful. Because it's important. The whole purpose of our study is to clarify our understanding, to build our confidence, right? And make us free of doubt that when we chant Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, we are instantiating, we are invoking our Buddha mind, yeah? Am I invoking the Bhagavat? Am I going to be a Bhagavat? Is that something I need to? No. These are the kind of things that work in our head and confuse us. So here we go, Bhagavat. And this is from Merriam-Webster, you know, a very well-known dictionary. So it isn't just Bob off on his, sorry for all the Bobs out there. I don't mean to impugn you. But for Joan and her website, it's a noun, pronounced Bhagavat. And this is a term we really shouldn't be seeing in Mahayana Buddhism. So BDK, get your act together, right? Bhagavat, blessed one, Lord, used chiefly as an epithet of deities in Hinduism and Buddhism. Well, there are no deities in Buddhism, except in the storytelling where, because he's talking to Hindus, and they are super, super, super into this magical, mystical mind thing. Not mind thing, really, universe thing. That's who he's talking to. That's Shakyamuni's audience. So yeah, we see it crop up as personages, and I've talked about that, and that's in the first volume of Buddhism reference. Personages are useful. Some in modern day, we often call them in business a straw man, right? We set up an exemplar, right? And Buddhism is about the mind. So the exemplar is a mental idea, condition, yeah? But in Hinduism, for the Hindus, all of these deities were real entities, like in any religion. There's these mystical entities that control our lives. Not true of Buddhism, certainly not true of Mahayana Buddhism. So the second meaning they offer is word history, the etymology. Sanskrit, literally possessing good fortune. Well, that's not a deity. From Bhaga, good fortune, akin to Sanskrit, bhajati, he grants or allots. So the Sanskrit meaning of the word, and that's true in English and any other language, there are words that culturally get stuffed with all of this meaning and baggage that isn't strictly the meaning of the word. So another bias, right? So here's what I have for this entry. It's short. We won't talk about this long. I may expand it if I find relevant information that's useful. This is another term from ancient Indian traditions that is better left out of Mahayana Buddhist discourse as it carries a bunch of baggage. Still, we see it often in translations of sutras, and the Lotus Sutra specifically. Certainly, this is an indication that the scholarship, quote-unquote, of the translation is biased by those whom are steeped in Indian history and traditions. Historically, Bhagavatism corresponds to the development of a popular theistic movement in India, religion, departing from the elitist sacrificial rites of Vedism, Vedic text, and so on. Oops, I need to fix some things. And initially focused on the worship of the Vrishni hero Vasudeva in the region of Mathura. It later assimilated into the concept of Narayana, where Krishna is conceived as Svayam Bhagavan. According to some historical scholars, worship of Krishna emerged in the 1st century BCE. However, Vaishnava traditionalists have placed it in the 4th century BCE. So there you have a little history on where it came from. But now you know when you read this word, kind of, okay, we'll just, it's an epithet. Okay, but it's not relevant to our study or our practice, other than if you're interested in the history of these things, you may be, and that's fine. Just understand that it's not something you need to be distracted by in your Buddhist practice. Okay? All right, so that's Bhagavat. We see it a lot, we hear it a lot, but only specific, of all the translations I've read, it's only prominent in this BDK version. So you might use that in your data bank, right, as you research other books, and knowing that BDK has this bias. Yeah. All right, that's it for today. I hope that's helpful. Let me know if you have other questions. The next term we're going to encounter, and I think I've talked about this before, so I'm not sure why I put it in volume 2, but Bodhisattva. So that's okay. Maybe I have some different information here. I'll have to contrast and compare. In the meantime, be kind to yourself. Stay healthy, right? And use the resources, lots of free stuff, the podcasts, the resources on threefoldlotus.com. If you can, a note. I have taken up a little habit here, and I like it. There are some of you on Patreon, who are patrons and have monthly donation subscriptions. By the way, much gratitude. We all appreciate you for that. And by all, I mean the Sangha. I'm here all alone, so that influx of support is critical for me to keep going here. So yeah, thank you a lot. And in appreciation, those who've given for a while, or anyone who has a donation of like $5 or $10 a month, I sent out electronic ebooks of the first Buddhism reference, the first volume, I should say. So yeah, that happens. I don't announce it. I don't, Patreon has this whole setup with tiers and everything, and that's great. But it's just too much for me to keep up with all of these different things I'm doing. So I just do it because I think it's fair, it's right, and I can. So if you sign up on Patreon, that's one advantage you might get over signing up directly with PayPal. Although that's great too. But, if you sign up to PayPal, I see those emails every time there's a donation. I'll catch them, and I'll send you stuff, too. So I don't know what it'll be, but I have you guys in mind. So that's a little benefit, okay? Anyway, I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.